Welcome to Under the Sheets with Tatiana Ashbourne and friends, brought to you by Dirty Talk. I'm Tatiana Ashbourne, and these are my friends. This is Paige, everybody.
Hello.
Laugh about it. Give it to me, baby. Learn about it. Love it or hate it. Let's do it. Under the Sheets with Tatiana Ashbourne and friends. Coming up in this episode.
Like, he started crying, and I was like, why are you crying? And he was like, I have to tell you something. And I was like, what? He was like, I never really loved you.
Stay tuned to see what's under the sheets.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, of course.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm so happy and excited to be here.
Yeah, this is new. So today we're in Los Angeles, which is pretty cool. I've been here for a while now and absolutely loving it. So thank you for letting me into your city because it's amazing.
If I had the key, I would give it to you.
Yeah. So being in LA, what's the best way to finding guys?
Oh God, that's really, finding any guy or just finding like a good one, because finding a good one is like impossible.
Okay.
Finding a guy, probably like a dating app or a bar, or going to the beach, something like that.
Yeah. And is it a surfer vibe guy you're going to get or not really?
I'm not going to lie, I've been sleeping with a surfer for a couple months.
No way.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Tell me all.
How
How did you meet?
Okay, well, he was actually the DJ at my sister's wedding.
Okay.
And I took him home that night, and then just kind of been sleeping together ever since.
No way.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so your sister got married.
Yes.
What were the best moments of her wedding?
The best moments of her wedding? I would probably say I have a lot of like nieces and nephews and little cousins, like watching them like run around. That's so terrible that I'm mentioning small children on this talk show.
No, that's great. That's fine.
But probably just like watching them like run around and be really adorable.
Yeah.
And like seeing how happy my sister is, and getting really, really drunk.
Yeah.
Like, really, really drunk. So
That's
hitting
great.
on DJs.
That's what weddings are for.
Yeah, it was great.
So when your sister got married, were you imagining yours?
Oh yeah. I just told her a couple weeks ago, I was like, now that your wedding is over, even though I don't have anybody to get married to right now, we're planning my wedding.
That's so cool. What are you thinking?
I would love to have like I want like a very, very small like ceremony reception. I have a huge family and it's just overwhelming.
Yeah.
So I just want like the people that are like, that I'm like super
that's
really
so
close
nice.
to.
Yeah.
But the irrational part is that I want it on a cliff in Greece in like, and just like the most Pinteresty, like vibey, deep tone color palette. Whole thing. Yeah.
Have you always been imagining your wedding? Because I feel like I've thought about it since I was tiny.
I started imagining my wedding probably when I was like, I don't know, in like middle school or high school.
Right.
I didn't really start imagining it until my sister started imagining hers, and then I was like, oh yeah, I guess you'd like think about that.
Yeah. No, definitely. Okay, finish this sentence.
Okay.
I think success is
feeling content.
Okay.
Like with wherever it is that you're at. Like for me, it might be something completely different than like for you or like for Lydia or,
Yeah.
But for me, success is where I'm most happy and how, like what that means. Like even if it changes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if the actual like goals that I have change, if I'm feeling content with when I get there, that's success.
Yeah, definitely. And is there something now that you think when I reach that point, that is when I'll be most happy?
I try not to think that way. I do think like when I graduate from college and when I, I'm starting to go on auditions consistently and trying to be more active, like as a creator and an artist, like that will make me more happy.
Yeah.
But I try to like stay in this place of happiness isn't a destination. Happiness is like just a constant state of being.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. And do you see a partner in that state of contentness?
I think I do. I think that there is a lot of pressure in like modern day society and in Gen Z to be an independent woman.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of confusion that there isn't, like, you're not necessarily able to be like this boss, awesome bitch, you know, if you have a boyfriend or if you have a man, because everybody's so anti-man. And like, don't get me wrong, most of the time men have fucked me over.
Okay.
But like, for the most part, like, there's also really good guys out there, you know? And I think that there is, like, an ability to have that. So, yes, I would like to have a partner and all of that. I just think there's a lot of pressure to, like, not have one, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah.
And so you talk about men fucking you over. Talk to me, like, more about that. What was your first time experience, and then how did that change? After, were you getting into relationships?
Like, first time experience, like, of getting fucked over by a guy?
Yeah, let's start with that. Yeah, let's go with that.
I mean, like, when I was like 4.
Okay.
Yeah. Just like, my mom had like, like a long time ago, my mom had like a lot of really awful like relationships that she went through with just like terrible guys. And my parents got divorced when I was 4, and she had her first relationship very quickly after that. And like, just her being hurt was also them fucking me over. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
And that was just like a consistent thing throughout my life, which also like influenced my relationships a lot with men.
Okay. And so what did you notice what happened to you when you felt that your mum was upset? Like, did you feel the same hurt she was feeling, or not, because you were quite young?
I wasn't necessarily feeling the same hurt that she was feeling. I was like hurting for her. And it basically kind of, it turned me into this kind of person where I could mold myself emotionally to anybody else's needs.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was constantly doing for her when I was growing up, was just molding myself to whatever she needed.
Yeah.
Like in that moment, whenever she was like struggling in that kind of area in her life.
And do you see yourself do you mold yourself for guys because of that?
Yeah. I think that I don't want to be that person, but like, I know that I am, and I don't necessarily think that I mold like my personality or my core values or anything like that around a person.
Yeah.
But I definitely like mold. I would do anything that person needed to be happy, and I'm very good at like figuring out what they need without them having to ask me for it.
So talk to me about your first time experience with sex.
My first time experience with sex, I actually didn't. Well, like, my first sexual experience was when I was like 14 in high school, and it was terrible. This guy, like, I went on a date with like this really, I wasn't even attracted to him, if I'm being completely honest. I went to the movies with him, and we had been talking, like, we had been like sexting over the weekend, and we were like, I was like 14, and
that's so sweet.
And like, my sister's a very sexual person too.
Okay.
And so I felt like when she was 14, she had already done a lot more than I had at my age. And so I felt the need to like catch up with her. And so I was like sexting this guy, and I was like, yeah, we're gonna go to the movies, and you're gonna like finger me. And then we went to the movies, and first of all, his fingernails weren't cut. And second of all, when he tried to finger me, he didn't know which holes were what. Okay. So it ended up in my ass. And it was the worst.
So
and then and the thing too is that I was like sitting there like I was like, I don't know what's going on. And then he was like, are you, because I mean, boys that young, like, all they know is porn, right?
Yeah.
And all they know is girls like moaning like over like way. And so I was just sitting there like, I don't know what to do. And he was like, are you enjoying it? And I was like, yes. Like, I didn't know what to do. And it was terrible. And then I went to school like a couple days later. He had told his best friend, and his best friend had told everybody.
No.
So like the whole school knew about it. And then I was 14 and I literally did not kiss another guy until my first boyfriend when I was 18.
Wow, because of that experience.
Oh my God, it was so terrible. And everybody found out about it. And then like, I still get when I like my friends from high school that I'm not super close with, but I see every now and again, like they'll ask me about it and they're like, oh, that happened like senior year. And I was like, no, that was freshman year. And they were like, oh, I thought you were like I thought you like really got around. Because I would like, I have this friend, her name is Carrie, and we get coffee like once a year, like literally in the fall, once a year we get coffee, and we don't really talk other than that. And we were talking about it last time that I saw her, and she's like, wait, so you really didn't have sex until you were 18? And I was like, no. And she's like, I thought you had sex when you went to the movies that one time. And I was like, no, he fingered me in the ass and he didn't know what he was doing. Like,
it's crazy terrible. How rumors change though. Yeah. It's literally Chinese whispers that get bigger and bigger.
It was terrible. But like the first time that I actually had sex and like my sexual experiences after that were honest. Like it was with my first, like I lost my virginity with my first boyfriend, and like we lost our virginities to each other, and it was very sweet and very tender, and it was great.
Okay, did you know you were going to have sex, or was it a sudden?
It was kind of like, I don't know. We hadn't really talked about like we're gonna do it. I think the most that we had talked about it, this is like the most generic thing. I don't know if this is like just an American thing.
Okay.
But I was like, when we started dating, we kind of had a conversation about when we were going to have sex. And I was like, I think we should wait till prom.
No way. That's so funny.
It didn't end up working out that way. Like we started dating a week before my birthday's January 16th. We started dating a week before my birthday. And his birthday is February 5th. So he's like a couple weeks younger than I am. And we had sex for the first time on his birthday. Oh. Yeah. It was actually really sweet. It was really nice. It was like my mom, it was at my house. My mom was gone. I had the house to myself, and it just like, we didn't talk about it that day or that night. Like, and it wasn't planned. Like, it honestly just kind of happened, and it was really
But
sweet.
he didn't finger you up the bum?
No. He tried to do that later once we had been having sex for a while. But no, that's not.
Was it nicer the second time?
You know, there was one time that I was actually like, oh, this isn't that bad. But then everybody, like that couple of times after that he tried to do it, I was like, no, it's not my thing.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. What's the best sex you've ever had?
Oh my God. The best sex I've ever had was with my ex-boyfriend.
Oh, this poor surfer guy.
Okay, honestly, the surfer guy he's the best head that I've ever had.
Oh, like, oh my God, we're gonna get into that. I'm so excited.
That's the best head that I've ever had.
Okay.
And it's great sex. It really is amazing sex. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But my last like actual relationship, it was my rebound from my first relationship. Him and I were I don't know if he ever, there's a lot of confusion that goes into that relationship, but I think that we were like sort of twin flames in a sense. Okay. We were not good for each other at all. But the sex was just like intense, insane. Like, I need you, and it wasn't even so, like, and the thing too is that our relationship wasn't based around sex. I would say it's like a good old fashioned, like it was very like how an old fashioned is like, orange essence forward.
Okay.
But it still sits in the back. Like that's how our relationship was. Like it was sex forward, but it kind of took a back seat.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh my God. Like literally, I don't know if this gives you any insight of how good the sex was or just like the whole situation in general. I literally refer to him sometimes as gorilla dick. like actually, he's a terrible, awful human being.
Right.
And I hope that I hope that he has grown from that and is a better person now. When he was with me, he was a terrible, awful human being.
Okay.
But he had the most like beautiful, gigantic penis I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you think bigger the penis, better?
I don't necessarily think it's bigger the penis, whatever. Like, I think that you could have an average size dick and be amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I think the best one night stand that I've ever had was, he was very average sized. But it's like, oh, you know, it's how you use it.
Yeah.
But if you have a big dick and you also know how to use it, it's a lot better.
Yeah. And so talk to me a bit about why the relationship went so south.
Oh God. So it just happened very, very quickly. Like I said, he was the rebound from my other relationship.
So it didn't really start off on the right foot, I suppose.
I mean, I think it did start off on the right foot. I think it just kind of escalated really quickly.
Okay.
Like he told me he loved me 3 weeks after we started dating, and I was like, I'm not ready for that. I just got out of a relationship, you know, and like the terms just weren't very clear from the get-go. And he was not a nice person. He told me that he thought that my best friend was hotter than me. He told me that, or not told me this next part, but kind of insinuated that the reason that because he waited like at least 2 months to introduce me to his brother. Yeah. And he lived at home, and I would go over there all of the time, you know, but like he would avoid introducing me to his brother. He insinuated that he didn't want to introduce me to him because he was embarrassed because I was thicker than all of the other girls that he's ever dated. So like basically I was too fat to meet his brother.
Wow.
Yeah. And so there was that. And then also just like, he just was not, like, he was constantly trying to improve me. I told him one time, I feel like I'm never enough for you. And he like straight up told me, I'm never going to tell you that you are enough, because then you're never going to stop. Like you're going to stop working on yourself at some point. He was basically saying, I'm waiting for you to lose weight. I'm waiting for, you know, all of that. And then, but on top, like, even though all of that was going on, I genuinely loved him. Like genuinely wanted to marry this person. But we ended up splitting because it was like very messy, tumultuous situation. You know, like I said, my mom had, toxic, bad relationships in the past, and that really affected my sister, and my sister was very adamant that she didn't want me in a relationship like this, and I was like, okay, I don't want to ruin my relationship with my sister, so I left that. But him and I were off and on, and then what like officially ended it was he cheated on his new girlfriend with me, and after we had sex, he told me that, like, he started crying, and I was like, why are you crying? And he was like, I have to tell you something. And I was like, what? He was like, I never really loved you. And I was like, solid, awesome, love it, great, amazing. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then he tried backtracking, and he was like, well, no, I meant to say, I never loved you the way you deserved. And I was like, well, that's true, but if you, like, that is true. However, I don't know what to believe now. Like, that's why I'm like, I don't know what to believe about that, you know? But yeah, like the last thing that he ever said to me, like we were on a phone call after the last time, like I had seen him, and the last time I had seen him was when he told me he never really loved me. And then we were on a phone call like maybe 2 weeks later, just to kind of like, hey, how are you? You know, whatever. The way that we got off the phone was him saying, I need to be a better man for Talia, his new girlfriend.
Wow.
And I, like, that just, like, broke me
I bet.
in half. Like, not in half, in, like, a million tiny itty-bitty pieces that, like, still going back together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And being in that relationship at the time, did you know this was wrong, what he was saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, like, I had, like, a gut feeling for sure that it was not good.
Yeah.
But also in like toxic relationships like that, there's a cycle that happens where it's like he does something really bad, he makes up for it, makes you feel like you're $1 million, and then he does something again and you're at the bottom. Like it's a lot of extreme highs and extreme lows, but it makes you feel like the extreme highs are worth everything else.
Yeah.
But God, I was just so in love with him. I wrote him a poem, and in one of the lines of the poem was like, I love you because I fucking can, and nobody can tell me I can't.
Yeah.
Or like there was another, like I made him this little bottle that it was like messages in a bottle about like how I felt about him. And one of them was, he had like a lot of like mental illnesses too. He had like bipolar and borderline personality disorder and stuff. And he had like a really hard time like identifying with who he really is.
Yeah.
And so I, like, in one of the poems, I told him, like, if you can't see who you really are, look at me and I'll show you. It just, I was very much in love with him, and he just tore me apart.
Yeah. And do you feel like for your next relationships, you're now watching out on everything, and do you feel insecure about going into your next relationships?
Oh, so insecure.
Yeah.
So insecure. Insecure, very, like, I lack a lot of confidence in that arena. I'm very aware of, like, I felt this way in that relationship, and I don't want to feel that way again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And were you conscious about your sister getting married and being in a relationship? Was she conscious about seeing what happened to your mum as well?
In her relationship?
Yeah.
Yeah. She got very, very lucky. Not to say that, like, it was all luck. She's an amazing person and deserves that kind of love. But she was very lucky with the guy that she met. They met when she was 20. And he's perfect and amazing in every way. And, like, she hates men, very much hates men. And she'll walk down the hallway, and she was telling me this the other day. She was saying, yeah, like, I'll walk down the hallway and be, like, really frustrated with, like, some guy I'm going to school with.
Yeah.
And she'll be like, oh, I fucking hate men. And he'll be like, yeah, me too. He's great.
That's so sweet. But that's the relationship you want to be able to...
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
I mean, I think their relationship definitely has, like, it's not, like, major issues or anything like that. I think that, they probably have a lot of problems that I don't even know about. And even if they don't have those problems, it's none of my business. But, something along those lines of the way, like, he just treats her like a princess, queen, loves her so much. And, they have, like, a very sweet love. It's really kind of gross and disgusting.
Yeah.
but it's really sweet.
And you being so low at a certain point, how did you progress and come out of that? Have you come out, or are you still feeling very much shattered by this one guy?
I've come out of it a good amount, I'd say. I just think that, like, I think that it's hard coming out of, like, a toxic kind of, like, intensely passionate relationship like that, because you get used to that level of passion. And not to say that, like, healthy relationships lack passion. It's just that they're a little more boring.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And it's okay to be comfortable, and it's okay to not have, like, just intense, like, I hate you sex. Like, it's you shouldn't have I hate you sex with the person that you're supposed to, like, love and be with forever. But I think that I think that it definitely has changed, like, my outlook on a lot of things.
And could you see yourself going back or not?
To him?
Yeah.
That's really hard. I've thought about it a lot. I don't think he would ever. I went crazy after we broke up. Like, he was very crazy during our relationship. I went very crazy after we broke up. Like, I would call him. I was that girl. I would call him, leaving, like, voicemails, and, like, just turned into somebody that I didn't really know. Not in, like, not so much in like a dangerous or, like, scary way, but more so of, like, me breaking up with him. That is really what set me on, like, okay, he was only the third guy that I had ever slept with. Yeah. Like, I had my first boyfriend, and then, like, in the midst of all of that, like, my first boyfriend and I were, like, we broke up, like, 3 times. One of the times that we broke up, I had a one-night stand. Okay. But, like, really, he was the only person that I had ever known sexually. Yeah. And then there was... And he was only really the second person that I had really known sexually, but the third person that I had slept with. After him and I ended things, I went on like a rampage.
Yeah.
Like I kept saying like I need to like get him off of me. And so I became very much reliant on male validation, even if it was guys that I had no idea who they were. Like my body count went from like 3 to 12 in a year.
Okay.
Which is a lot for me at least, you know? But yeah, long story short, I don't think I could go back to him.
Yeah.
I left him some really intense voicemails, and I don't know if he ever heard them because we had like agreed to block each other's number.
Yeah.
But I'll just say that like his voicemail is not there anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know if that means he changed his number or something, but
right. Okay.
Yeah.
And do you think sex is special?
I think it can be. I think that it's like a really cool idea if you think about it. Like you're just putting yourself in any kind of sex, in like a hetero relationship, girl on girl, guy on guy, like anything, you're putting yourself into another person's body.
Yeah.
And I think in that sense, it is very special to like think about it like that.
Yeah.
But I also think that sometimes sex is just sex, and it's just good and messy, and you kind of like lose yourself in it. And it can be, but I think that like, what gets mistaken is a lot of times people are like, oh, save yourself because it's supposed to be special. And it's like, no, there's sexual experiences and like, and things that you should be able to feel outside of emotional boundaries. But what should be saved is the intention of having like sweet, tender moments with somebody who is really special. Like I wouldn't go into having sex with somebody thinking like this is going to be like just really like I'm going to bury myself into this. I'm going to like, you know, like I want him to like hold me and squeeze me and like kiss me and all of that on a one night stand. Yeah. You know, on a one night stand, I'm like, bend me over, break my back, let me go. Like, like that's, you know, but like if it's somebody I genuinely care about, it's like, no, let's take our time.
And do you think if you have sex, you can be more connected? You know, some people are like, oh no, I can't just sleep with someone once, otherwise I'll fall in love with them straight away.
Oh, you mean like if sex automatically makes you more connected
to a
person?
Do you think it does, or do you not?
No. Yeah. I ran into a guy on the street like a year after I had slept with him, and I was like, Patrick, right? And it was like, he was walking, we were both walking our dogs, like, on the opposite side of me, like just going by each other, and there were these dogs that had like, they were strays. I went over there trying to help the stray dogs, and he also was going over there trying to help the stray dogs, and we just ran into each other, and we were looking at each other, and we were like, oh no, oh my God. And then that was it.
So you were telling me about all these obviously relationships that haven't gone so well.
Yes.
So now, do you see, what are the red flags that you see before getting in, or what people should be aware about?
I am like the last person that you should ask that question. Yeah. For me, I'm like, I was telling my coworkers a couple weeks ago, I was like, I'm red flag colorblind. Okay. So like, it's a red flag. I'm like, oh my God, that's good. Green, go, cool. I will say though, like, biggest thing is listen to your gut, because like I can hear my gut all of the time. Whether or not I actually pay attention to it and react off of that is different. So I don't always take my own advice, but the biggest thing I would say is just like really listen to your gut. If something doesn't feel right, it's not.
Okay. And a question to end on. If you were guaranteed $1 million, I was going to say pounds, but I need to remember that. If you were guaranteed $1 million, would you do OnlyFans?
Would I do? Oh, yeah. I mean, I would do it. Like, if $1 million,
Yeah, no doubt.
Easy. I mean, I think it would depend on what exactly it was.
Yeah.
I don't think I would do OnlyFans with, like, another person.
Okay.
But I would do it by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and you haven't thought about it? already?
Like doing it?
Yeah.
Not seriously. Every once in a while, I'm like, I'm really broke.
Yeah.
But no, not seriously.
Because I feel like sometimes people find taking videos or pictures for themselves helps them with their body confidence.
Oh yeah, no, I'm no stranger to that. I do that not for myself. I am very much like a, you know, I would say a sexter connoisseur, if that's a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that's great. Like, I'm all about body positivity and like just being really, you know, like body forward.
Yeah.
You know?
No, definitely. And we were talking earlier about women orgasming and stuff like that. How do you feel, how's it been for you in that aspect?
So in that aspect, I was really lucky to have like a very open relationship with my mom, and being able to, like, we never like actually had like conversations about orgasming. Yeah. But it was like, I always felt empowered by her just as like a sexual being. Okay. And it kind of just taught me that like I matter too, because I think a lot of time when you have sex with a guy, it's not very often that they care that you come. Like, when they're done, you're done. Yeah. And it's like, no. Like, and I care about that so much, to the point where like I have gone and like I've had one night stands where I have gone and made myself come having sex with them. Okay. And then I'm like, I'm done. Like, no. Yeah. You're done. Yeah. You know? But I've had a very good experience. All I will say about that is I think that like a lot of times, like, guys will try something, and a woman, like, if we're talking like heterosexual, you know, relationships, a woman will be like, oh, he likes that, so I'm going to pretend that I like that to please him. Yeah. But if you really don't like that, then, you know, he's going to keep doing it because he thinks that you like it. Yeah. But you don't. So I would just say, like, don't be an ass about it. Yeah. Because men's egos are very fragile. But I would just say, you know, like, be honest. Like, that, I don't like that. You know? Yeah. Like, that's the biggest thing. Like, I think everybody wants the same outcome when they're going into sex. And so if you're like, no, do this instead. Like, if you guide somebody, you're not only helping yourself, you're helping the next person too. Yeah. You know? Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And with, and do you masturbate as a woman? I do. Yeah. I'm very open about that. I literally had a dildo gift exchange with like a group of my friends a couple of years back. No way. Yeah, we like put our
not like swap them around.
Not like
as in like a gift.
As in a gift. Right. Like no. Like
a swapping dildo circle.
No. Like, we all bought each other one.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
That sounds better. Yeah. No. We put it was like secret. It was for Christmas. Like, it was dildos. We called it Dildo Secret Santa.
No way. That's so cool.
Yeah. And it's just very forward about. Like, I feel like it's so normal for guys to talk about that. It's normalized in movies. It's normalized for, like, guys to talk about it between guys, like, you know, just, oh, how much do you jack off? You know what I mean? Yeah. But for women, it's like this secret, you know? Like, oh, you don't do it. Like, like, no, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. And I'm like, everybody knows what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Everybody has sexual needs. Yeah. You know, I mean, there's asexual people, but we're not talking about that. Like, everybody has sexual needs, and sometimes they're not being met. And, like, sometimes a dildo or a clit vacuum or something can do a lot, like, you than a guy could.
A vacuum, never heard of that. Okay, that's so
like,
funny.
No, it's literally like, it's supposed to emulate like you, like somebody going down on you, right? But it's like, it's literally like this little. There's like a handle on it, but it's like this little thing, and it has like a crater in it. Okay. And it like it like sucks on your clit.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. You have one?
I got, for my birthday in this past year, I got really, really drunk in San Francisco, and I was hanging out with my sister and her friend, and like they're all like, her and all of her friends are very sex positive.
Yeah.
And so we were just like walking down the street. We were on our way to this comedy show, and we like walked by a sex store, and we were like, let's go in. Drunk off my ass, I spent $300 on this thing. And I woke up the next morning, and I was like, if this, like, and I had been going through a really terrible dry spell too.
Right.
And I was like, I just spent $300 for an orgasm.
But
So
just that.
It was that. Well, okay. So
that and
it
you
was
bought
that.
other
Well,
things.
it was that, but it also came with like an additional thing where it's like this U-shaped thing where you can wear it like while you're having sex with a guy.
Yeah.
So there's like a flat part that like actually goes in your vagina, and then there's another part that comes out and it like vibrates.
Oh, like a
on your
rabbit thing.
It's like
not seen those?
It's like a rabbit, but
Yeah,
it's like
okay.
So like
Not an actual rabbit before.
No, but like,
Get off.
but like 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 the dildo that has like the rabbit part, it's just the rabbit part.
Okay.
And like the inside is flat, so you can like have sex
Yeah.
while you're wearing a rabbit.
Wow.
Yeah, and it came with that, and it has like a remote control that you can like use while you're having sex.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I still haven't used that part, but
Yeah.
but yeah.
And do you use vibrators just normally or not really?
If I'm by myself, then yeah.
Yeah.
Not all of the time. It depends on how much effort I want to put in.
Yeah.
But not all of the time, but most of the time if I'm by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And really quickly, when we were talking about, you said that you had a guy that gave you the best head. Why was it so good?
Oh God. It is because, okay, a lot of guys think that you have to, like, they think, I think there was like this whole movement of like the clitoris. You know what I mean? And everybody was like this is the Holy Land. This is where you have to go.
Oh, right.
This
Yeah,
is what
yeah,
you have
yeah.
to find.
Yeah.
And for some reason, for men,
Yeah.
they think that means it's a punching bag, and they're just gonna like like a freaking like one of those like massagers, like a muscle massager where it's just like pounding you. They're like you're gonna come right now, and it's not like that.
Okay.
At all.
Yeah.
He just like he really takes his time. He really he tries different pressure. It's different. Like he'll try different things until he knows like what is actually like getting me there.
Yeah.
And he also, I feel like, knows the female anatomy very well. Because a lot of guys will try to go down on your urethra, and that does nothing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say knowing the female anatomy very well.
Okay.
And just trying things out and seeing what works. And I think it also helps that, like, I'm very, vocal. He also has a really good head of hair to grab onto. So. that kind of adds to it. So.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you've given me so many things. Unfortunately not an orgasm, but I've got a gift for you coming on the show.
Oh my God.
So thank you so much for coming in. But I did buy you your very own vibrator.
Wow.
So to add to your collection, it's in the shape of a lipstick, so you can take it out with you.
Oh my God, I literally have one that looks like lipstick.
No way.
Like, actually looks like
That's
lipstick.
so cool.
That's wild. Oh my God.
Yeah. So please know that you are beautiful inside and out. So don't let any guy tell you differently. But yeah, thank you so much. This is Paige, everyone. If you would like to be a part of the show, please check out our website at www.dirtytalkofficial.com. We welcome all sexualities regardless of your sexual experience. If you would like to be an audience member only, please get in touch the same way. Like and subscribe on all social media platforms.